for creativity since time began, depicted as creatures of love, lust, protection, temptation, beauty, intellect, and strength. The female form was a very popular subject in the realm of art. Warriors, deities, mothers, and leaders, with soft skin and bright eyes, the woman is the image of the support and downfall of man. She is an object, used for inspiration, but did any inspiration get used by her? This is the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. Today, we are going to take a look at the collection this museum has to offer, keeping the topic of feminism in mind. We are going to focus on the third floor of the MIA, where most of the European and American paintings and sculptures are on display. All the statistics and facts mentioned in this video will be referring to the highlighted area here. As you can see, we will also be including photography and the modern and contemporary areas to get a sense of the comparison between then and now. We will not, however, be including folk art, architecture, period rooms, or this area here. It mostly just has objects like a car and some furniture. In total, there are about 644 paintings, sculptures, and photos here. Out of those, about 308 have at least one female in the piece. Due to human error or just not being able to tell if some are really women, these numbers are only estimates. Still, this means that women are included in almost half of all the pieces here on the third floor. The rest are either landscapes, still lifes, abstract, or only have men in the scene. If you think about it, that means that there are probably more women than men in all the works combined. Among the 644 pieces on the third floor, there are about 131 nudes. Partial nudity is included, and 60 of those are women. That's about 46% out of all nudes. That's almost half. Another large portion of the art is depictions of the Virgin and Son. With 41 in total, 32 can be found in the little section of Europe from 1200 to 1600, aka the Renaissance period. The rest are from the later years up to the 1900s. Notice that there is not one in the modern and contemporary area. One big chunk of the male nudes also comes from around here. This is because there are many depictions of Jesus Christ. In almost all of them, he is partially nude as an adult and fully nude as a child. Just to keep up with the numbers, there are about 21 Jesuses in total, and 15 are in the Renaissance period. Lastly, you may be wondering how many pieces are actually made by women. Or not, I really don't know. Anyway, about 23 were. That's about 4% of the total pieces in this area. Now that we've covered all the numbers, let's recap in a way that's easier to remember. Okay, big museum. Lots of art, half of girls, and only a teeny tiny fraction by girls. See the problem? You see, being a woman didn't stop sucking until the late 19th century, and even then life wasn't to the fullest. There were hardly any female artists around that anyone knew of. The world of art, and pretty much the rest of the world as well, was ruled by men. Therefore, there were a much greater number of male artists. If you were asked to name 5 women artists, would you be able to? Let's see, Georgia O'Keeffe, Frida Kahlo, Cindy Sherman. See, I can't even get more than 3 off the top of my head. But there were a great deal of female artists. It's just that only men were shown in galleries until much later. You may ask, nowadays it's different though, right? Men and women are equals. Well, women didn't start getting their art shown until the late 1960s and 70s. Both my parents were kids around then, so as much as I like to tease my mom on her age, that really wasn't that long ago. Let's take a look at the 20th and 21st centuries and see if we can find a difference. The highlighted area here is the modern and contemporary section of the third floor. Mind you, this is only half of it. The rest is on the level below, but since we are only covering the third floor, this will have to do. Now, the first thing I noticed when walking around this area was the number of abstract pieces. There is a lot of art that I had to decide whether to add to the study or not. I was trying to keep it to just paintings, photos, and sculptures, but there was a lot of gray area here. I'm just letting you know, again, that these numbers are only estimates. Anyway, the modern and contemporary galleries have about 52 depicted women in the 118 pieces I counted. That's about 44%. If you include photography, it goes down to 38%. On the rest of the floor, there are women in about 53% of the artworks. About 9% of those are nude compared to 11% in the modern works. So looking at these numbers, there is a higher percentage of females depicted in art before the 1900s, but there are more nude women after. Honestly, this was surprising to me. I would have thought it would be the other way around. Either way, it isn't drastic enough of a difference. Neither category has more or less than 10% than the other. Is this the same with women artists? The answer is, well, I don't know. Let's take a look. If there are 9 women artists shown in the photography and modern and contemporary exhibits, that's about 8% of that. Compare that to the rest of the floor, 10 artists here, which makes 2%. So the answer is yes, there's a bit more women artists shown in the future, but not by that much. This is very surprising to me. It almost makes me want to protest like the Gorilla Girls, but the MIA is more of a classical museum, so really it shouldn't be much of a shock. It just doesn't have a very big collection of modern art. So my question now is whether this is the same for other museums. The Walker Art Center, for example, also housed in Minneapolis, is bursting to the seams with modern art and artists. Do you think that there may be more women artists shown there? I sure hope so. If not, all the work of the artist generation before me was in vain. The whole point was to bring equality to museums. Looking at the MIA's collection, it feels like it may be a grim future for aspiring women artists like myself. Also, this project wasn't just about comparing the then and now, but also just to bring up the ever-going conversation of sexism. Here are the works of the female artists I did find. Notice how none of them are of nudes. That's an interesting fact to me. But also check out the diversity of these works. These women are so talented and creative just as much as their male counterparts. Well, I guess that's about it. I didn't come here planning on answering all these questions for you, and I don't expect you to have many answers either. This was only just me attempting to scratch the surface of sexism in art, and maybe to start a conversation about it after the credits roll. Though I do hope you got something out of it at least. I sure did. And please keep in mind that even if none of this affects you, you should be aware that there may still be others struggling for equality in our world today. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and if I don't see you soon, I will see you later. Bye!